Radical.
Welcome to Radical Rapid Fire Comment Response for January 2nd through January 8, 2023. Short comments, quick replies. Joe Rogan. To fix the TV, you have to fill your bathroom up to nearly the roof with rice, then leave the TV buried in it for 3 days. But don't forget to leave the fan on. That's very important. Okay, so let's see here. To fix the TV that got some moisture in it from the rain, you're saying, I would have to take the TV, put it in the bathtub, fill the bathtub about to the ceiling with rice, then leave a fan on it for 3 days. Okay. Seems like a lot of trouble and a lot of money to buy the bags of rice to fix a TV I got for like 15, 20 bucks. So, I would look at something like that. And a lot of times people sometimes actually spend a whole lot more money fixing something or a problem than it would take to actually, go out and get the same item again. A lot of times people do this with TVs, sometimes with game consoles. Like, Joe, I got some 360s and sometimes they get burned up or, inside and I get the red rings. I'm like, okay, that's not worth it to go somewhere and get that fixed than to just get another one, used. But the TV actually is working. But here's the weird thing is the switcher doesn't work because every time I try to switch it from input from HDMI to, it doesn't go anywhere. The TV kind of just turns off, comes back on, and it goes to the HDMI. But it's a display TV, so you know what? All I really need to work is the HDMI at the flea market. Dude guy, I've only been to one outdoor flea market here in Minnesota, Wright County Swap Meet. It's mostly junk, crappy DVDs and CDs, old beat-up tools, and sporting goods. Did occasionally see some Legos and video games, but most of the time it was local game stores setting up booths, so you weren't finding anything special. I haven't seen that here. But that would be an idea for a lot of local video game stores that maybe weren't getting traffic into their stores. Hey, let's just take a lot of our video game stuff and set up there. It would make sense because, you're going to get a lot of foot traffic. I often thought about that. Am I doing more business sometimes in a day, in a couple hours, than maybe some small game stores? I don't think I'm up to that point right now. But, if you're paying like, $100 for the month there, and you don't have to pay anything else, then it's very feasible that you can make more money actually than a local game store because you don't have high overhead and whatnot, and you're not paying for that electricity there. You say junk, crappy DVDs. I do notice that. I walked around a flea market. I saw a lot of DVDs, but there's junk, crappy DVDs, the ones that are scratched up, maybe are dirty, and then there's clean DVDs. So I think there's a market here, even though it's a small market for DVDs and Blu-rays, because I tell you, I've sold some Blu-rays for 10, 15 bucks. So there's a market for it. You just got to make sure your stuff is clean. Old beat up tools. Actually, tools, even if they're old and beat up, they sell the best tools by far. At least in my experience, I tell somebody who's thinking about selling to the flea market, hey, if you got Radical Rapid Fire, gotta go. Jacob Wright, not impressed with the points. They don't allow defense anymore. 60 is the new 40, but that missed free throw and put in from Donovan Mitchell was impressive. Yeah, a lot of people aren't impressed. At least I'm not impressed with the points scored by someone like Donovan Mitchell compared to maybe like Jordan and the double nickel game from the 90s. I mean, 70 points, that's a lot of points to score in a game. It is. He went in overtime, scored the extra points in overtime. It is impressive. I won't say it's not impressive. It's impressive, but not nearly as impressive if it would have been done in the 90s or the early 2000s or back when they allowed people to play defense. Just, you can get on YouTube, look up some video of some old games from like, if you can see all the way back to maybe like 80s and 90s and early 2000s, where they didn't call a lot of fouls. I mean, look at the bad boy Pistons. All right. I was watching this one Pistons game versus the Bulls, and they were just like hacking Jordan, hacking him. And I was thinking like, man, they didn't call a lot of those. I was seeing fouls, but they didn't call it. The defense was a lot tougher. They were allowed to play stronger defense. So, yeah, I agree. 60 points is actually probably the new 40 points in the NBA. Art Bell. Rick, when you are better, Rick, would you become Radical Risk and risk of fast with beans and bread test Friday to Sunday? All you eat is that. A guy lost 50 pounds by doing it a month plus, who weighed 200 then 150. He hated his life at day 14. Well, I think when it comes to these crash diets, to me, it's not worth it to hate your life while you're going through it. I mean, unless you're like super obese. 200 is not super obese. Unless you're like, unless you're 410, then maybe it's super obese. But 200 is not super obese. 50 pounds is a lot of weight, though. I would look at it and be like, well, that's a risk in losing that much weight in a month, because your body just, your systems can't really, it's probably not good for you to lose weight that way. But beans and bread's kind of fattening. So I don't understand what kind of bread he ate. It's a weird diet. Usually when people have those weight loss diets, they do Atkins. But yeah, beans being half of what you eat for a month, not only would you hate your life, but your significant loved one probably would hate your life. For like a month? Jeez, could you imagine that? Arioka, I just noticed your new channel name. I like it. Well, thanks. For me, it was an easy choice. Because, I mean, it more like fits the channel nowadays. Because I'm not really focusing on myself as a YouTuber and others as YouTubers and YouTube itself that much. Because I feel that I don't find that really interesting or exciting now. It's not to say that I won't discuss myself. I discuss myself in my channel occasionally and whatnot. But, I look at it and it seems really limiting to me. And I don't like to be limited. And people come by and they say like, oh, okay, you just talk about yourself and YouTube. Is that all you talk about? Like, no, I talk about lots of things and I entertain people. So I think it fits overall the channel. If you look at the channel from here to back, I think it really kind of fits. I'm Radical Rick and I entertain people. So it makes a lot of sense to me. Also, Radical Rick Media would have worked. Radical Rick Media, but Closer Entertainment works. Now, what I need help on is actually figuring out a new flea market name because I need something to put on business cards to be legit. People ask for your business card. Oh, I don't have a business card. So when it comes to that, my idea is either maybe flea market media or the media marketplace, the media market. What do you think about that? The media market, the media marketplace, or flea market media, or something else? This is in a situation where I would like some feedback because I'm trying to get some cards maybe made tomorrow. And then I think in the background I'll have like maybe some, maybe Batman or Master Chief or like some characters from all different sorts of media. If I can do that, maybe I'll make simple cards at first and then elaborate later on. Red Strass 97. Prices have already gone up for the 7th generation console games already. For JRPGs, it's common to find those running from $20 to $50 today. A PS3 Lost Dimension game is even north of that. I've seen it for $100 at times. Well, question, Red Strass 97. Let's say you've seen that for $100. I'm more of a realist when it comes to the flea market. That's why I deal in mostly easy to acquire games and not like the super rare, expensive games. If I had that on my table at $100, I don't think it would sell. I think I wouldn't get more than maybe 40 for it because people would say like, "What are you selling games that much? It's an old game, Now the systems may be different story. If I had like a vintage Super NES with some games, then yeah. But just a game alone, I don't think I would get that at the flea market for something like that. People would expect to pay nothing for something old, or they would, I don't know, unless they really knew what the values of things were. But the prices are going up. Definitely on the PlayStation 3 JRPGs. You just got to find the right buyers or maybe go to the game shops. Maybe they'll pay you, good amounts of money for it if it's something they're personally looking for. A lot of times these game shops, there's a game they can't find and they want it for their personal collection. Let's see. There was a Silent Hill game, Silent Hill 3, I saw on a Goodwill auction, $60. And that kind of shocked me because Silent Hill was not a rare game. But, I mean, that's where we are in PlayStation 2 games now. PlayStation 2 games are going up there. They're getting really high. So, I mean, they've been high. But Silent Hill 3, that kind of shocked me, though. On Goodwill, that it's not even that rare of a game. Yeah, I think that's where we're gonna close out Radical Rapid Fire. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.